pretty big rental changes that are also getting released.
The season changes.
Not just the season changes. There's now going to be a one
It's a rental.
DEC cost for listing cards for rent,
Ooh.
which is just for, and listed cards only stay up for 30 days and then they come down. So it's one DEC to list a card for 30 days. So theoretically, you could rent that card 30 different days for one DEC. But if you want to reprice it, it's another DEC.
Yeah. So how's that going to affect all these auto rental bots?
Well, that's part. So this is kind of what I was getting into it with, is like some of those auto rent bots are the reason why this is getting put into effect anyway, right? So like, Gene with Splex, he said that they do over 1 million repricings per day.
Yeah.
Which ultimately is a cost to all of us, because that's taking server energy away. And we've all noticed issues with the servers and stuff, not being like up 100% of the time, or slow, or faulty. Part of that is the stress of these repricings, right? And that's being paid for by us in play. And if the servers are affected, and so our gameplay is affected, and that costs us quality of life. But then the actual cost of the servers is paid for by Splinterlands. So that's a big business to be built off of at the expense of another company and whatever. So to me, that this is a natural thing. Like my suggestion was that one DC be the minimal rental, but this is fine too. Like it's gonna clean up the system a little bit. It's gonna make it so that one BCX cards, which are really only rented by like bots and bot farms, are less, are not going to be like the same, same. They're going to be either priced higher or not priced at all. People are going to combine cards because higher BCXs are going to be renting better, which is the direction the game's been going in anyway, and has been its goal since the beginning of the game, is that incentivized to combine cards. There shouldn't be a premium on a 1BCX card for reselling, and then that same 1BCX card also does the best renting. If you don't want to combine your cards because of the resale value, well, you shouldn't expect too much rental value. Like that's how it really should be, and something that I've been really like trumping the horn for over a year. So yeah, so that was my, what I was getting into, why I was 2 minutes late. Was because I was getting into it with that.
Yeah, I mean, the way you lay it out, it makes a ton of sense. That if it's clogging up the system and is hurting, then in that regard, then it needs to be cleaned up. Virus. A lot of people really like the feature of auto repricing because it saves so much time. But this will maybe find a way to, I'm sure they'll find a way to work around it, but maybe you reprice less, like maybe once every week, or
that was,
once every 5 days.
That's exactly what I was saying to Gene right before I got here, was that, hey, like, because he was saying, hey, our thing brought in $2 million in investments. I was like, yeah, but I basically said what I just said to you guys, and I was like, if maybe you were a better steward with having that access, and had created a structure of your repricing so that maybe only reprice 10% of the amount of the time, instead of, and so it's only 100,000 repricings a day, instead of a million plus, then maybe this doesn't even have to happen, right? Like, but you know, since people are just going to town on the servers, you know, there's got to be something put in there to protect us as the players. And so that DEC, I believe, is going to get burned, which is going to raise the price of DEC and make everything more valuable to us anyway. So I mean, it's in that regard, it'll be good as well. You know, but businesses who built, you know, off of the back of the company's server and the game server, you know, they're going to have to make some adjustments. Now, Jarvie does repricing, and it's nothing like that, you know, like the amount of repricings is very minimal because it's not in direct competition with every other person that's in his system. You're in your own world, and you're repricing it against the percentages of the percentiles.
It's all the stuff you set. Yeah, you set your own limitations.
You're setting your own, and you're setting adjustments on how, on the percentiles, whatever percentiles you want your cards to be rented in. So I mean, it is affected by other people's rentals, but you're not in this direct competition of, oh, he cut me in line by 0.05 DEC. Now it's my turn to jump in front. It's like Splex is like if you've ever watched like a bike race on TV, it's like the person who's in the lead goes to the side and falls back as everyone else passes him, and he goes to the back of the line to get his turn in the back with less wind resistance. Everyone's taking their turn up front, hoping to get to give their rental sold when they're in the front. But if not, then they just go back. And meanwhile, that's just a tax on the system for every card that's available is at every level is taxing the system constantly with that next person repricing in front of the person in front of them, you know? So when you now add a 1 DEC price for that repricing, that's going to take 90% of those repricings away. People will still reprice for sure, just not to that extent. And for such low BCX cards, they'll become not a smart move, you know. So people will just get better at pricing cards just at the right price and letting them get rented, you know, whenever they get rented.
There you go. I don't know if there's much more to say on that. I think you did an excellent job of summarizing that, Gank. Thanks for watching. Here's a couple of videos for you to check out. And of course,
hit that like button and that subscribe button right next to it.
We appreciate you all.
We're having a good time.